Early marriage robs girls of their childhood and traps them in a cycle of poverty. So, on my first day of volunteering at Jagrati, I found myself surrounded by 9 to 11-year-old students, eagerly listening to my stories and energetically answering my questions. I remember one of the girls asked me, "Aapke kitne bhai aur behin hai?" Matlab, how many brothers and sisters do you have in Hindi? Smiling, knowing that they would find this funny, I replied that I have none, that I'm an only child. Everyone, literally every single child, was shocked. Chatter dispersed across the crowd, and once again little giggles started appearing here and there. So I decided to ask everyone how many siblings they had. Numbers shot out from the crowd. 2, 5, 8, 4, 3. Numbers beyond my imagination. I remembered my last visit to a Jagrati founded school in 2022, where I had visited the nearby slums and witnessed their living conditions. The floors were made out of dirt. All their belongings were packed into one of the 2 rooms that made up their house, taking it up at least half of the room. 7 people had to sleep in that house. Hearing that some of the people had 8 siblings, meaning they had a family of 10 people, shocked me. I simply could not fathom their living conditions. I remember asking one of the girls how many brothers and sisters she had. She said she had 3 sisters, and I asked her what they do. She casually replied that 2 of them were married, and one of them was sitting right next to me. Her 2 older sisters were 17 and 19 years old. Married at 17 and 19 years old. Did the family do this to remove the financial burden on themselves? Was keeping a girl at their house just too much effort? These questions made me reflect on the economic pressures that lead families to marry off their daughters early and perpetuate gender stereotypes that trap girls in a cycle of poverty. Poverty is a significant factor that drives families to marry off their daughters at a young age. In many communities, girls are viewed as a financial burden on their families. Parents may struggle to provide for their daughters' basic needs, including food, clothing, education, and sanitation. Marrying off their daughters is seen as a way to alleviate the financial burden and ensure their future security. Unfortunately, early marriage can have long-term economic consequences for girls and their families. By marrying early, girls are often forced to drop out of school, which limits their opportunities for higher education and better-paying jobs. This perpetuates a cycle of poverty as they are unable to contribute significantly to their family's income. Moreover, early marriage increases the likelihood of early pregnancy and maternal mortality. Girls who become pregnant at a young age are at higher risk of experiencing complications during childbirth, which can be, frankly, costly for families. Additionally, they are more likely to have multiple children, which can strain the family's financial resources, thus leading to even greater poverty. As part of my volunteering, I would spend at least 1 hour after the school closed going to the houses and families of students I taught, and I would ask them questions to develop my understanding of the gender differences in the slum community. The third question I would ask out of the 7 questions I had for them is, what dreams and hopes the people had for themselves in the future? What did they aspire to be? What did they want their children to be? I remember there was one particular mother I asked whose reply shocked me the most. She simply said she had no dreams. I asked her why. Surely you have some sort of imagination of your future. She told me she had been married off by her family at the age of 14. She told me she never had the time or opportunity to dream. All she could imagine for herself is continuing to be a housewife. Early marriage can have devastating consequences for young girls, robbing them of their dreams and aspirations. When girls are married off at a young age, they are forced to abandon their education and any hopes for a brighter future. In many societies, the pressure to marry early is driven by cultural norms and economic factors. Families may see the marrying off their daughters as a way to secure their financial stability, particularly in regions where poverty is prevalent. This is especially true in communities where girls are seen as a burden and where they're not valued for their potential contribution to society. However, the cost of early marriage is too high, as it denies young girls the opportunity to pursue their dreams and reach their full potential. Instead, they are simply expected to become wives and mothers, and to perform domestic duties that are considered to be their primary roles in society. When young girls are married off, they are often denied the chance to attend school or pursue their interests. Instead, they're confined to their homes and are forced to focus on their domestic responsibilities. This can lead to a sense of hopelessness and despair, as they're denied the chance to achieve their goals and to live fulfilling lives. In India, early marriage is a pervasive problem for girls, but not so much for boys. There is a significant disparity between the number of girls and boys who are married before the age of 18.